Everything in hell is about to change. The calm before the storm is cracking, and in Hazbin Hotel Season 2, Episode 3, the past refuses to stay buried. Whispers turn into confrontations, alliances crumble, and those who thought they had control are about to lose everything. This isn't just another day in the hotel. It's the beginning of a reckoning that could tear both heaven and hell apart. The episode opens with tension so thick it feels like the walls of the hotel themselves are holding their breath. The residents move through the halls with uneasy smiles, pretending everything's fine, but the cracks are showing. Charlie's optimism is beginning to flicker, dimmed by the weight of her father's recent visit and the secrets he left behind. She keeps trying to reassure everyone that redemption is still possible, but her voice trembles now, ever so slightly. It's not doubt, it's fear. Fear that maybe the dream she built is starting to collapse. Meanwhile, deep inside the city, the angels regroup. Adam is nowhere near the golden, confident figure we once saw. The loss he suffered still burns behind his eyes, and the defeat has changed him. Lute watches in silence, her composure chillingly calm. Every word she speaks cutting like glass. She isn't talking about forgiveness anymore, she's talking about cleansing, about wiping away every trace of hell's defiance. And this time, her plan doesn't sound like divine justice. It sounds personal. Back at the hotel, Vaggie senses something's wrong. She can feel it in the air, that invisible tension before everything breaks. She tries to keep order, pushing the residents to focus on their progress. But the news spreading through the city is impossible to ignore. Rumors of heaven's next move, of a new decree that could undo all of Charlie's work. The residents whisper in corners, wondering if they should stay or run before the angels return. Angel Dust, always the one to laugh through pain, puts on a show to distract the others. But even he's rattled. The glint in his eyes has faded, replaced with something heavier. Husk drinks more than usual, pretending not to notice the growing shadows. And somewhere in the distance, Alastor hums that haunting, familiar tune as if he already knows what's coming. His smile never falters, but his silence says more than words ever could. Then, just when the unease begins to settle, something strange happens. The lights in the hotel flicker, the air grows colder, and for a brief moment, every mirror in the building ripples like water. Charlie feels a pull, a whisper in her mind, soft but clear, a voice she hasn't heard in years. It's not Lucifer this time. It's something older, deeper, and far more dangerous. She follows it down the hallway, past the empty rooms, until she reaches the old elevator, the one that hasn't worked since the day the hotel opened. And then, for the first time, the elevator doors slide open on their own. Inside, there's only darkness. But within that darkness, a faint glow pulses, golden, warm, and unfamiliar. Charlie hesitates. She knows she shouldn't step inside, but curiosity wins. The moment she crosses the threshold, the doors slam shut and the light vanishes. What follows isn't a scream, it's silence. Heavy, echoing silence that spreads through the hotel like a curse. Upstairs, Vaggie calls for her, but there's no answer. The guests start to panic, and Alastor finally stops humming. For the first time since the show began, his grin fades just slightly as he turns toward the elevator shaft. Something ancient has awakened, and even he seems wary of it. Far above hell, in the blinding brightness of heaven, Lute stands before a gathering of angels. Her voice is calm, almost serene, as she reveals a new plan, one that no longer involves negotiations. Mercy, she says with a smile, is a gift they never deserved. And down below, the hotel that once symbolized hope is standing on the edge of destruction. The hotel feels different now, colder, quieter, almost hollow. Charlie's disappearance spreads through the halls like wildfire, and panic begins to set in. Every corner seems darker, every sound sharper. Vaggie refuses to let fear take over, but her eyes betray her. She's tearing through every room, calling Charlie's name, refusing to believe that she could simply vanish. Yet deep down, she feels it, something unnatural has entered their world. Something that doesn't belong to either heaven or hell. The residents gather in the lobby, uncertain and afraid. Angel Dust leans against the counter, his usual grin gone. So, what now? He asks, voice low. No one answers. Husk mutters something about bad omens, while Nifty keeps wringing her hands, trying to stay busy just to avoid thinking about what's really happening. The once lively atmosphere of the hotel, the laughter, the chaos. The spark of hope now feels heavy with dread. Alastor finally steps forward, his radio-like voice cutting through the silence. It appears. He says with that unnervingly cheerful tone, "Our dear princess has stumbled into quite the predicament." His words hang in the air, half amusement, half warning. Vaggie snaps at him, demanding to know what he means. But Alastor only smiles wider. He doesn't need to explain. He knows more than he's letting on. Far below, Charlie awakens, though not in the hotel she knows. The walls around her are alive, shifting like smoke, glowing faintly with symbols she doesn't understand. It feels like a dream, but the pain in her chest tells her it's real. A voice echoes through the void, soft, melodic, almost kind. "You shouldn't have come here," it says. Charlie looks around, but there's no one there. The voice feels familiar, ancient, and full of sorrow. She takes a step forward, and the floor beneath her lights up with golden markings that twist and move like veins. Back in the hotel, Vaggie confronts Alastor again. She demands to know what's happening, and for a brief second, his expression shifts. The smile falters, and his voice lowers. "There are doors," he says, "that were never meant to be opened, and your beloved Charlie has just found one." The room falls silent. No one dares to breathe. The realization hits. This isn't a kidnapping or an angel's trick. Charlie is somewhere else entirely, somewhere older than hell itself. Meanwhile, in heaven, Lute's plan begins to unfold. She stands before a massive stained glass window, her reflection fractured by light. Around her, angels kneel, not out of reverence, but fear. Adam watches from a distance, unsure whether he's witnessing justice or madness. Lute speaks of purity, of balance, of restoring the order that hell has defied for too long. But her words carry venom. She's not just cleansing sin, she's erasing everything tied to it. Her divine retribution is no longer divine, it's vengeance wrapped in holy fire. As her orders are given, an army begins to assemble, not with trumpets and glory, but with silence and shadows. Their wings are blackened at the edges, their eyes cold. Even heaven is changing. The corruption that started below is now spreading above, twisting faith into fury. Back in the depths of the hotel, Vaggie gathers the others. "We're getting her back," she declares, voice trembling but resolute. Angel Dust scoffs but joins her. Husk sighs, muttering about how this is going to end badly. Even Nifty nods, clutching her cleaning brush like a weapon. For the first time, they all stand together, united not by redemption, but by fear of losing the only person who ever believed in them. And in that moment, Alastor laughs softly to himself, the sound echoing through the empty halls. "Oh, how delightful," he murmurs. The game has finally begun. Then, far beneath the hotel, Charlie looks up and sees it. A massive, ancient gate, carved with celestial symbols, half broken and pulsing with light. She can feel its power calling to her, promising answers, but warning of a price. The voice returns, closer now, whispering, "You were never supposed to see this." Charlie takes a deep breath, steps forward, and places her hand on the gate. It shudders at her touch, not rejecting her, but recognizing her. And as it begins to open, the ground trembles both in heaven and hell, as if reality itself is bracing for what's about to come. The gate glows brighter, flooding everything in gold, and then silence. Something has awakened, and it's older than angels, older than demons, older than sin itself. The golden light fades, and Charlie finds herself standing in a vast, endless chamber. The air hums with power, ancient, suffocating, alive. The walls stretch far beyond sight, carved with symbols that pulse like living veins, glowing faintly with that same golden hue. She takes a cautious step forward, her shoes echoing softly across the marble floor. Every sound seems to ripple through the air, as though the chamber itself is listening. The voice that guided her here is gone now, but its presence lingers, a weight pressing on her chest. A reminder that she's not alone. As her eyes adjust to the dim glow, she sees something ahead, a massive statue, towering and cracked, depicting a figure neither angel nor demon. Its wings are broken, its eyes covered by chains, and beneath it, a pool of light swirls like liquid gold. Charlie can feel the warmth radiating from it, but when she approaches, the warmth shifts into something colder. Recognition. The pool mirrors her reflection, but it's not her face that stares back. It's someone else's, a version of her that looks older, darker, and utterly emotionless. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, the walls shake. The elevator doors burst open, spilling a faint trail of golden light. Alastor stands before it, his expression unreadable. Well, he says quietly, "She's opened it." The words send chills through everyone in the room. Vaggie grips her weapon tighter. "Opened what?" she demands. Alastor tilts his head, that ever-present grin widening again. "Something that should have remained forgotten," he says, almost cheerfully. But alas, curiosity is a family trait. In heaven, Lute's forces march, their golden armor glinting under the cold light. But something feels wrong. The skies above are dimmer than usual, the clouds trembling with faint red streaks.